Yes, we had a transporter malfunction, so Alex Turner will not be making it, doing his presentation tonight. So in his place, we have a couple members who have stepped up at the last minute and will give us two short presentation. Mark Zalcik on the NLC season, and Alister Ling will be talking about the Lac La Biche and the Métis crossings. They're moving forward in becoming dark sky preserves. So in lieu of our guest speaker, we'll have those two gentlemen step up and give us a brief discussion. Okay, so why am I not seeing my... Okay, so call the meeting to order, and the meeting minutes are available in the members area on our website. I don't know how many people read them, but if there's any errors or omissions, please let us know. No, okay. Can I get a motion to have the minutes brought into the file?
I'll do it.
Okay, Tom. I can't see the late to my. So Tom Owens made the motion. Second. Oh, Chris Merville. Okay. If there's any questions or discussions, no. Okay. All in favor? Aye, aye. Okay. I'm guessing that passed in the dark. Okay. Next thing on the list is our treasurer's report from Jeff Whiten. Okay. There you go, Jeff.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to see a lot of people out tonight. I hope everybody had a terrific summer and is looking forward to the return of darkness, albeit a little smoky return of darkness like I am. Busy time for the center right now. It is every year around this time of the business year. So there's a lot of transactions happening, mostly due to the fact that that the center supports an awful lot of outreach this time of year. And we're gearing up for the big star party, the Northern Prairie Star Party, which is holy. It's next week. So it's already on us. I see some people that have been working like crazy on this over in the over on that side of the room. So this is kind of a quick sort of summary of our financial position. Because we take a break in the middle of to cover the summer, we haven't met since June. Although I balance the accounts and everything month to month, I'm not going to go through all those with you. These are the current balances as of the end of August the 23rd. So our general account, we started the month with a balance of 75,616, and we ended the month with a balance of 77,364. Much of that revenue is from Northern Prairie Star Party fees that continue to come in, almost $2,000 worth during the month of August. We also had our membership dues come in for $522. Expenses were relatively modest. We had a few refunds. This happens every year for Northern Prairie. We have people book campsites and then they aren't able to join us, so we end up refunding that money. So there was about $500 worth of those refunds. And we also had some expenses related to our BNLO training this year. It was a couple $100. Sorry, the casino account still well capitalized. We started the month with $109,000 in that account, ended the month with $106,000 in that account. Somehow I slipped a decimal point. Sorry, did someone want to audit me? I think I just slipped a decimal there. So expenses, we're starting to see some of the plane wave expenses come in now. So there was a couple of small things that were bought for the plane wave project as it continues to move, some permitting exercises and that type of thing. And we also have the internet and Wi-Fi now installed out at BNLO, and those expenses came through, including a tower for the Wi-Fi out at BNLO. So that was almost $1,400, and then just some minor outreach expenses. The Bob Drew Telescope Fund was unchanged from July, so it still sits at $2,516 and change. Any questions? Okay.
Okay, we have to make a motion again. I keep forgetting to accept that.
I would make sure you, as amended, because you stuck the decimal point on the month number.
Yeah, we'll get that repaired.
It's amended.
Yeah.
You may be missing a digit as well.
Okay,
The entire report isn't being displayed.
so Jeff can fix that up for us.
So as amended.
So Jeff will amend that when move the decimal point to the appropriate location. Okay. Hang on here. There. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, our guest speaker is ill tonight and was not able to make it. So in the interim, we have two members who have stepped up to help us out. Got Alister, Ling, and Mark Zalcik coming to give us a little update on some of the things they did. Mark did some NLC work this summer, and Alister's working with, I think it's people up around Lac La Biche and Métis Crossing to get them designated as dark sky site. So I'll get Alister to come up here first and give us a brief outline of what's going on there, and
Permission to step on the bridge.
granted. Remember, Zeidler's undone.
So I hail from Terra. I've come from the starship USS Observer, where we do a lot of looking out, not up, because of course we can look down and sideways as well. So, but we do a lot of looking in the Observer. Okay. Well, welcome to September, finally. If only we had 4 months of September. Okay, so this is just a little bit of things thrown together that we talked a little bit about during our last observers group meeting on Zoom. And that was partly about the upcoming star parties, things to think about and consider and act upon. And so at Black Nugget Lake, it is very important that if you do have a headlamp, make sure it's red, but also only use it for setup and takedown, because the last thing you want to do with these headlamps that you can get, well, whether it's at a camping store or Canadian Tire, those headlamps are awfully bright and people do not like those shining in their eyes. So make sure that you only use those for your setup and takedown, and keep those red lights pointing down to the ground when you're walking around, just so that you don't shine it in anybody's eyes. There's a nice etiquette form on the webpage, so please give that a read. And somewhere, there we go. Not sure, there we go. So there's a movie as to what Black Nugget should look like. Hopefully this will kick in. It's got audio, but nope. Well, I can show the movie after. One of the key points that we like to remind people of is dress, because it's after summer, you're used to all the heat and you're not used to the cold, and you think, minus +6, +8, that's fine, no problem. It's no problem getting to your car from in the house at that temperature. But if you're standing around for 4 or 5 hours, you'll find you chill down a lot. And a very common complaint at star parties is at 1 o'clock in the morning is, well, it's cold, so I'm going to go to bed. And then you end up missing out the best part of the night, because of course, people in neighboring cities and towns turn out their lights after midnight, typically. And so the sky does get just that little bit darker. So also hot pockets and toe warmers are really good to have just in case of emergency. And because once you get cold, you cannot warm up. So among the things that we have wonderfully at Black Nugget Lake are stars, and stars, as long as it's clear. So lovely Milky Way. Other thing I recommend is plan so that you've got some rest time. Most people are not used to standing for many hours and can tire out. If you have the napping gene, congratulations. It's a wonderful gene to have, but pay attention, try and only go 30 minutes or 90 minutes. Other times, as shown by sleep science, you can end up being pretty groggy. But generally, I've found with my experiences that when you really get exhausted, if you try and keep pushing, you end up just blathering and you can't concentrate anyways. So give in, take the nap, and you can wake up quite a lot refreshed. The other thing is have a hot noodle soup. We've got kettles there, water, boil it up, and have some energy. Because the other thing that might surprise you is that you're not used to eating at 1 a.m. Well, most people aren't. So the extra food gives you energy, and warmth really helps. There is a lot of noise at Black Nugget Lake from the geese of various stripes. So make sure when you go to bed, put on the eye shades, put in the earplugs, and then later during the day, try and sneak in that 30 or 90-minute nap. And your body usually tells you just after lunch is where that's part of your circadian trough. But try and as soon as you get that tired feeling, if you can, go for a lie down. It's amazing how much energy you can get out of it. And if you've never done the 90-minute thing and you go, oh, naps aren't good for me, is give a 90-minute one a try. Because typically most people are sleep deprived coming into a star party and have a lot of trouble staying up. So give it a good try, because you don't want to miss the best nights of the year. Okay, Lakeland. So Lakeland is a dark sky preserve from a few years ago, and they do have a much smaller celebration than the Jasper famous Dark Sky Preserve celebration. This year, Lakelands is 1 week after Northern Prairie. And if you're an RASC member and you would thinking about volunteering, please do. We do need a volunteer or two there. There's very little work to do. Just show the people the sun. The moon sets before 10 p.m. So if you're an ardent imager, before astronomical twilight actually gets really dark, people are going to bed, because it's typically a very family-oriented celebration. So it's up Lac La Biche, Sir Winston Churchill Provincial Park, a bit over a 2-hour drive. And the only light there is from Lac La Biche, which is south of where the island is, where we do the camping. A hotel is possible. So if you're not the camping type, we can still refund your expenses for being at a hotel. But you've got every direction except for directly south into Lac La Biche is wonderful. Sitting on a lake. This was 2 years ago. Very nice. No, 1 year ago, pardon me. So beautiful area. At night, it gets very dark. So some of you may, this is a northern constellation. You might not be able to recognize it because there's too many stars. So please, if you're interested, contact Dave Mussel and help out and get a nice night going. This is almost more of a advertising plug, so partly apologize for that, but the whole of the county up there is thinking about becoming a dark sky preserve. And at Métis Crossing, they have these wonderful little mini geodesic domes. And the neat thing about it, it's only 90 minutes away, but the skies again are very dark. And if you do the higher end stay there, you get to sleep in a heated room in one of those domes. You have a wonderful view out the window, high to the south there. The biggest problem is it's weird falling asleep with your glasses on. But that's the sort of the downside from that. And I guess the Aurora movie won't play on this. Anyways, that's, whoops, pressing too fast. So that's it for the north. I was also asked if I could give a couple of slides about my recent trip to Namibia. So this is just a teaser. I've got some information in the latest Stardust, and it'll probably take me about 2 years to get through everything that I saw while I was down there. What ended up happening is a fellow RASC member, Alan Whitman from the Okanagan, he had gone down to Namibia, and it's a wilderness lodge. You are astronomer in residence, and essentially, this is the view of the lodge at night. You can see it's decked out in red lights. The part of their, promotional blurb for the lodge is that it's a wilderness experience. So there's you're in the middle of nowhere, really, really nowhere. And the skies are dark. And so I ended up doing 78 nights in a row, try and figure out how you do the sleeping pattern for that. It took me a little while to do that, but essentially 2 blocks of 3 to 4 hours each and naps in between. But the neat thing about it is that your sole responsibility is to chat up the guests at lunchtime, show them a few things on the sun, take a nap, and then come back, have dinner, and it's wonderful gourmet meals. And then you just have this awesome sky. And I'll be over the next months showing a little bit more about this sky. But among the things that it's so dark there that, as you can see, there's on the left, the Milky Way is going through there, and that's Cygnus at lower left, upside down. And that swath of light to the right and going to the top center, that's the zodiacal light. So instead of just hugging the horizon, the zodiacal light is actually one of the sort of worst sources of light pollution that they've got there. So that tells you sort of how dark it is, because the zodiacal light just won't go away. It's there. And so center left on the map at left, there's a little X. And so this is the light pollution map. And as you can see, there is nothing near there. The closest source of light is sort of the next lodge, some 30 kilometers away. So 2 months, gourmet food, 2 hours of outreach in the evening. The rest of the night is mine. And in terms of, it looks a bit weird. You have to pay the flights to get there and back, and of course your medical insurance. But if you imagine your visa bill or your household bill, except for the usual utilities, there's no other expenses on that bill while you're in Africa. So basically, I saved money going to Africa. And plus ones are welcome, but As I said, there's nothing there out in the wilderness, so they have to taking walks or e-bike rides out on the desert. And while you're sleeping, because there's really nothing else. There's no TV. The Wi-Fi is good, so if you are allowed to work from home via internet, you can actually do that. Although I think it's pretty hard to do a full day job and then observe for 8 hours for months in a row. But they are looking for people to come. So it's just like, when can you come back? I'm not sure. My wife was very generous with her support with letting me disappear for 2 months. So, but if you think you can wrangle the time away from Edmonton, it's go. It is absolutely amazing. This is the equipment that they've got. There is no roof to the observatory because, well, it doesn't rain. It does rain a little bit, so they do have a waterproof duffel bag that goes over it. But it's an 11-inch Schmidt Cass is the main scope, and as you can see, sort of drifting off out into the distance, it's just desert plains. When I arrived there, they said, "Welcome to Mars." It's just phenomenally wilderness there. There's as far as the eye can see. So I'll leave you with this teaser shot from inside the observatory, single frame out of the camera, no processing. The large and small Magellanic Clouds. I think if I use the phaser here that's the large Magellanic Cloud, small Magellanic Cloud. Canopus, of course, Coalsack, Alpha and Beta Centauri, Southern Cross, Eta Carina Nebula. As I got to tell guests, basically anything that looks like a blob is a star cluster or a nebula. It's just really amazing. Oh yeah, and of course, sorry. The Sagittarius and Scorpius rising there on the left. And as you can see, the terrain out there, most of the time when people are doing panoramic nightscapes, they take several exposures of the ground separate from the sky because the ground is dark. And one of the perplexing thing here is that it's so dark and the Milky Way is so bright, it's not dark. So it's very easy to walk down a path with no light, even at the new moon, because you can see. You dark adapt, and there's piles of light coming from the Milky Way. It's very surreal. I'll end here with 2 weeks into my stay. I was sort of doing this thing sometimes as I'm walking to the observatory, looking behind me, sometimes expecting the voice from the Twilight Zone to say, you have entered purgatory, and something bad is about to happen, and at the end of it, expecting to go off as a slave in the diamond mine or something. But no, it's absolutely legit, and it's just completely surreal because it's just nothing like you've ever seen before. And 78 nights in a row. Amazing. So thanks, and we'll see you later. Live long and prosper. And
Thanks, Alister.
I relinquish the bridge to you, Captain.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alister. If anybody wants to talk to him during the break about going to Africa, you'd probably give him you can track him down. Okay, Mark Zalcik, he's going to give us a quick overview on how the NLC ran this summer. And after that, we'll move on to a couple other items. And our After Imaging Corner is going to be lengthy. We had a lot of submissions, so Tom will be taking care of that. And we'll have a few announcements as well after the break. Here you go, Mark.
Good evening. So Alister, that was 78 clear nights in a row?
The first night had only 2 hours of observing, and that was only 2 of those nights. The rest, 100% clear.
Absolutely amazing. Wow, that's fantastic. So, yeah, I'm just going to talk a couple of minutes about the NLC season from Edmonton this year. Joanne's usual repertoire of Tetra Paks has a new flavor tonight, Tranya. So actually, when I did my talk on June 9th, I had failed to mention that there was actually a display of noctilucent clouds that morning. So yeah, the morning of June 9th, I totally forgot to mention it. And at least from my observations, it was the second display of the season. I saw a very faint display on the early in the morning of May 31st as well. Probably the most spectacular display was on Sunday evening, June 29th, and that's what this image is from. Now, usually I like to say that when you go and do an NLC check, noctilucent clouds obviously they look like cirrus clouds, but they're much higher in the sky, so that you can only see them in twilight. So for this particular display, yeah, midnight and 3 a.m. is kind of a good time to check, but that's just kind of a guideline. This picture was. I was busy inside that building at 11 o'clock. I thought I would just go out and kind of check to see if there might be an early display of NLC at 11 p.m. and the whole sky was covered with clouds. So yeah, midnight is a guideline, people. At peak season, end of June, beginning of July, yeah, you can go out at 11 o'clock and there's a chance you might see a display. And if it's there, it's going to be this high up. So the display was already ablaze at 11 p.m., covering like over half the sky. Spectacular display consisting mostly of those long streaks, but with some billows embedded as well. And as usually happens in these cases, as twilight gets lower in the sky, the display gets lower as well. So within about an hour, it was already pretty low, but still very bright. And it lasted all night, although there was some tropospheric cloud interference later on, but it was there still between 2 and 3 in the morning. So yeah, June 29th. Prior to that, there were a couple of other displays, June 23rd, 24th, 26th, 27th, nothing terribly spectacular. So this display on the 29th, 30th was kind of set things in motion for the rest of the peak season. There were NLC the following night on June 30th, July 1st. They got fairly high in the sky. So, yeah, so this was from Sunday night, the 29th. We didn't have to wait long for another spectacular display because on the following Friday night, July 4th and 5th, you had to be up pretty late at night to catch it because it didn't really start going until 3 o'clock in the morning. But sure enough, yeah, in morning twilight, there was another spectacular display of NLC on the Friday night. Then there was a smaller display on July 8th and 9th. And then on the 10th and 11th, another very nice display that didn't get overhead from Edmonton per se. And this actually, the situation was repeated on July 14th and 15th. The clouds got fairly high, but you could tell that a lot of the best display was going on further east of us, because although the clouds did get overhead from here, you could tell that they were spilling way over into the eastern part of the sky. So if you were to drive to maybe Saskatoon or something, they would be seeing the clouds overhead. So July 10th and July 14th, two more very good displays. And the last display I saw was a faint display on the evening of July 15th. And that was it for the season. But that's kind of the way it goes from mid-June to mid-July is when you see the bulk of the displays. And that happened to be the case exactly this year. Overall, it was an average year for NLC. Generally, if you're a casual observer looking out for NLC, you'll see you'll have 5 to 10 active nights. I had a total of 13, which is right around my long-term average over the last few decades, so very average. And if you look at activity network-wide, let's say over North America, again, very average. The last two seasons, 2023 and 2024, were very quiet. 2023 had a total of only 59 nights over the continent. 2024 was even worse with 54. This following an excellent 5-year span from 2018 to 2022, when the continent totals were 62 in 2018, and then 2021 and 22, they were 71, 73, 75, and 73. So we went from 5 really good years to 2 lousy ones, and now things seem to be getting better again. So basically, so that's what happened from Edmonton NLC wise this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Al. Okay. So we're going to have Murray Hunt come up and give us an idea what the observers group is going to be doing moving on into the fall. I thought I saw Murray earlier. Yeah, there he is. Should go back to the.
Thanks, Clayton. Yeah, my name is Murray, and Alister, Ling, and I are sort of leading the observing group. And basically, it's a group. We get together when the weather's good, sort of whenever short notice get together. If you're in your backyard or something like that, want together with a group, we'll send out Facebook, website, or in the Astro List email some nights when we will get together. And welcome to join us. Everybody brand new to experienced observers, come out and enjoy the fun. Usually it's in city, so it's convenient to most people. And if you have any good areas in the city that are pretty good to look at, let us know. Observers group at edmontonrasc.com. Just give us an email, and we could see if we can put that area into the rotation. I just wanted to say a few things. So that's basically what we do. And then as people get a little more experience, what we're looking forward to is new moon, a week of new moon or something like that, going out to a darker site. We've been to I always forget the name. Blackfoot staging area, of course. Yeah, that's one area. But go to a darker site and see some much more things. Then once a month, we have a Zoom meeting. It's usually the Wednesday the week after the general meeting. But of course, this year we've got the Star Party next week. Northern Prairie Star Party. So we'll be meeting the week after that, the Wednesday after that, on Zoom from 7 to 8 o'clock in the evening. And everybody, again, is very welcome to come and join us on Zoom. In this, one other thing, I guess, in this month's Stardust, I put a little article in just on a observers group update, what we're looking forward to in the fall. And little article on Lyra and Cygnus, 2 really nice constellations, quite easily seen in the city. And if anybody is interested in doing the Explore the Universe program, they are a maximum of 110 things to see and document. But just looking at documenting observation of Lyra, Cygnus, some of the double stars in them that you can see with binoculars, that will check off 7 out of, well, a minimum of 55 things to see. So that's out there too. So anyway, it's great to see so many people in attendance tonight, and we're surely looking to a good fall season. Thank you.
Okay, before we get to the trivia and the break, beginning of the break, all those who received notices from Tom Owen and Sharon Mortink with respect to your anniversary pin, they will be handed out right over there during the break. So make sure you go and see Tom and Sharon about those. Okay, trivia. Staying in character for Star Trek Day, the trivia is about Star Trek. Okay. What was the name of the starship in Roddenberry's original script for Star Trek? Who was the first actor to be a member of all 3 major alien races in Star Trek? Which Star Trek captain has an artificial heart? And what is Sulu's primary position on the Enterprise? So we'll have the answers later. And for right now, we'll head into the break. And remember, go see Tom and Sharon about your anniversary pins. And of course, help yourself to, I don't know, I got some drinks and cookies, I guess. That looks good. Okay. Then we'll take about a 10-minute break here, and then we'll get back to the some announcements from the different groups. Thank you.
Star trekking across the universe. On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk. Star trekking across the universe. Slowly going forward 'cause we can't find reverse. Lieutenant, report. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, Jim. Analysis. Mr. Spock.
It's like Jim, but not as we know it.
Next on the agenda is some announcements that we have to make. And we have, got MPFB update from Susan, a Jasper Dark Sky from Chris Merville. Jeff will do a quick Milky Way Day wrap up, and a couple of things that are coming up in the near future. So, Susan, I saw you a minute ago. There she is.
Something about permission?
There you go.
Hi there. I'm Susan Graham, and I'm one of the 6 people involved in getting the Northern Prairie Star Party organized for this year. Starts a week tomorrow, starting on the 16th, and runs through to Sunday the 21st. We're very excited about this year's event. Looking at the weather, I'm hoping the weather will be a little bit better than what's being predicted, but we're still got some good nights. Looks like we're going to have some good nights. Packed and interesting program on Friday and Saturday. Viewing opportunities through the Black Nugget Lake Observatory, 32-inch Unit Drew telescope, as well as the 18-inch Barry Arnold Memorial Telescope. Sky tours, solar observing, swap and shop, special t-shirt, absolutely great prizes, fantastic. Like last year, if any of you were there last year. And our barbecue. Now on Friday, Alan Dyer, who I think may be on the broadcast tonight, is going to be presenting a 90-minute workshop on nightscape photography at 1:00. And we're just delighted to have him here and coming. So some of you may want to come out for that or have registered for that already, registered to come out that day. And at 3:00, Clayton will be doing certification for the use of green laser pointers. So any of members, new members, or those that need to be recertified can come out for that session at 3:00 at the Northern Prairie Star Party. Saturday afternoon, well, Saturday morning, we've got the swap and shop. We have a tour of the Black Nugget Lake Observatory. And then we've got 4 speakers Saturday afternoon, starting with Luca Vanzella on the BNLO, Kent Martins on the Planewave Robotic Telescope Project, University of Alberta Professor Wang Chen on Mysteries of the Supermassive Black Holes in the First Galaxies, and then Alan on the Northern Lights, the science behind the spectacle. We've put lots of details on our website, biographies and more talk descriptions. You're welcome to look there. Event registration closed on the 28th of August. All our campsites have been booked for weeks. We're expecting the largest attendance ever, upwards of 100 people in total, maybe not all out there on Saturday. And we've arranged for a larger tent to be installed on site. As in the past few years, we are not set up to handle drop-in, last-minute on-site attendees. Only pre-registration and online payment via our website is what we're accepting now. That being said, we wanted to know that if any of you are here tonight or online and have not registered, but are thinking about coming out Friday or Saturday and have changed your minds, would you please let me know by showing up your hand? Because we really need to know the numbers for our event and for planning. There are some limitations. So I see I've got 2 people there. Okay. So if you could please go on our website when you get home tonight and register. I see you've got 3 so far, 4, and anybody online? Sorry? Okay, so, oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. So it looks like we've got about 7 or 8, Carol. And we just wanted to make sure. And anyone who's not coming out, who's coming out but not camping, we are recommending that you come only by the north gate, especially on Friday and Saturday, because the campground is also operating and they really don't appreciate people driving through the campsite, so the campground. So come to the north gate and we have attendants on volunteering to keep the gate open, or there'll be a message on how you can get in touch with whoever of us is inside. So that's good. Any other details, Dave, Carol, Marion, and Alan, that I should mention? No? We'll give you a report next month on how it went, and we're looking for planning ahead to next year, and we have a few ideas for speakers, but if you have any topics or things you'd like to hear about, please let us know. And as I mentioned, I'm one of 6. There's Rick Bram, Marion Hobbs, Carol Mussel, Alan Hobbs, and Dave Mussel. And Dave and Carol have been really taking a lot of the work these days and taking all those registrations and answering all those questions. So kudos to you guys, especially since we set up this great registration system. So that's my report on Northern Prairie. Are there any questions? Yes. So there are 2 events happening on the 3rd week of September. Just hold on, I got to get my notes here. I did submit a story for the Stardust on 2 September major astronomical events. And thanks to Alan Dyer, who sent this information to us for posting, as well as some annotations from Dan Kulak. So we've got 2 events happening, one of which will be not as easy to see from Black Nugget Lake location, and the other which will be. The first is a moonrise on the morning of Friday, September the 19th. At about 4:30 a.m., and it will feature a waning crescent moon very close to Venus in Regulus. You will need to have a good sight line to the northeast. which is not possible from the Black Nugget Lake Observatory due to the berm that we have. Alan says that from south of Fort McMurray, it's kind of a graze. So you'll see it at 4:30 in the morning. And he's provided in the Stardust, you'll see a diagram from Sky Safari that illustrates the juxtaposition of those different bodies. So that's on Friday, September 19th from 4:30 a.m. on. Later that day, on September the 19th and running into September the 20th, there will be a very rare transit of Saturn's moon Titan and its shadow across Saturn from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. or so, lasting almost 2.5 hours. Now, Alister, you've seen a few of these transits already this year, have you not? Oh, okay. But there was one just earlier this week? You saw it this, Murray?
Yeah, I saw it.
So Murray says you can see those transits in a 5 to 6 inch scope. Now, twice every 29.5 year orbital period of Saturn around the sun, Earth and Saturn briefly occupy the same elliptical plane. During this brief period, two rare planetary phenomena can be observed. One, Saturn's rings will appear edge on. And two, Titan's shadow may be seen transiting the disk of the planet. In the current shadow transit season, Titan's shadow transits Saturn a total of 10 times between April 29th and October 6th of this year. So we've already missed a bunch of them. And some of them have been, for various reasons, not observable, weather-wise and so on. And some of them are short and some of them are not. The season of Titan shadow transits heavily favors those of us in the Western Hemisphere, treating us to good views of nearly all of them. RASC Edmonton Center member Dan Kulak, thanks Dan, adds, the September 1920 transit is only one day before Saturn opposition. So it will be a very interesting view, with Titan almost on top of or slightly behind the shadow as they cross the northern polar region of Saturn with a very thin ring plane geometry. Dan has provided a link for more information. It's really fascinating information about the transits of Saturn this year through Sky and Telescope, and that URL is in the article in the Stardust. And also, Alan provided us with a great illustration from Sky Safari. The last Titan shadow transit, there's one more this year in this season of transits. It will be on Monday, October the 6th, with the shadow just skimming the northern pole of the planet at 11:30 p.m. And then after that, it's 15 more years to the next transit season. So anyway, so registered attendees at the Northern Prairie Star Party will have an opportunity to view this event, weather permitting, through the 32-inch telescope at Black Nugget Lake. A big shout out and thanks to BNO Operating Committee and the roster of trained volunteers who will be making this possible. So that's something to put on your calendar as well. But also to remember, just like Murray's saying, with a 6-inch telescope, you can be viewing that transit from anywhere in this area as long as the weather is good. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, next up we have Chris Merville with the Jasper Dark Sky Festival update.
Thank you, sir. The good news is we are again joining the Jasper Dark Sky Festival as a participant. And I say it's good news because since about early this year, we sent them a letter a little bit annoyed with the way they've been treating us lately. They treat us like another vendor, and they are putting us in sky polluted areas in downtown area. For those who have been there over the last 5 or 6 years, most of the time we've been in the downtown area. So we sent them a letter, and they said they would change that. And they gave us 2 nights and only 1 solar, which they had been giving us 2 solars in 1 night. And so we were quite pleased with it. But then come about the middle of the summer, they sent us a letter and say, no, sorry, you're going to get 2 solars again and 1 evening inside Jasper town. The committee sent another letter to them saying that we were not another vendor, that we were a participant or a partner in making Jasper, or making sure that Jasper kept its dark sky designation. And we wanted to make sure that we were recognized as such. They sent us a letter saying we would like to have a meeting with you. And I asked Clayton whether he would join me for that meeting. And we were expecting that they would give us all sorts of rhymes and reasons why they couldn't do that. But we were quite surprised, and they gave us, they put us back into Lake Annette. For those who have been part of the Jasper Dark Sky, it's one of the best observing areas there. And we were quite pleased that we were going to get Lake Annette. They were going to put us in the first weekend, which was a full moon, but they changed that to the second weekend, which was a dark moon. And they're going to have transportation back and forth to like we had in the past. They apologized for not recognizing us as a partner, so we felt like we had achieved our goal, and we were very pleased with that. So that is the good news. Now the unfortunate part is we're a little behind. They also gave us 10 rooms, which means that 10 couples. Generally speaking, it's couples. It doesn't have to be couples, but we are going to be taking volunteers. Dave Muscle is looking after posting. And I think, Dave, you said that we're going to have some sort of a sign-up sheet, the same as we had for Milky Way Days.
Yep.
And so there will be a sign-up sheet if you're interested in joining us at the Dark Sky. I must warn you, however, there's not a lot of free time, and everyone that is volunteers, including the spouses, if there are spouses coming, are expected to help in setting up and managing booths and so forth, setting up the equipment. So, Dave, I expect that will be coming this week if possible. We don't have a lot of time because it's going to take place on October, let's see if my memory serves me right, the 24th, 25th, and 26th. The 24th and 25th are Friday and Saturday, which will be the nighttime viewing, and the Sunday we will be doing a solar viewing. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we gotta thank Chris for being very diligent in his communicating with the Jasper Dark Sky people. He did an excellent job, and between Jay, Chris, and myself, we were able to actually we got more than we anticipated that we would get from them. So we're very happy about that. Okay. Milky Way Day wrap up. That was, I think, last weekend, and Jeff has got, he was the organizer, and we thank him for that again. And he's got a quick wrap up as to what happened.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Milky Way Day was on, excuse me, August 31st, Sunday of the Labor Day weekend. It was a very good event. It was very well attended.
Astronomers from across the capital.
Okay, I'm getting to this part. What do I hit when spacebar? Okay. Okay. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Okay. We had lots of volunteers. Thank you to each and every one of you who came out to the Stoughton Lake at Elk Island Park. We had a really, really good day of solar viewing. Unfortunately, we had some smoke rolling in later on in the afternoon, and it delayed our nighttime viewing until we could actually see some stars shining through the smoke. But after that, I think we had a pretty good time. We had lots and lots of people show up. Cam Johnson from Parks Canada estimated there was at one point 2,500 people in the park, and a great many of them were at the day use area to look at our scopes, talk to our people. Again, thank you to all our volunteers. Now, before Milky Way Day, I reached out to Global, CTV, and CBC, asking if we could get some free publicity. I did manage to do a radio interview on CBC and also on Alan Mitchell's Lowdown with Low Tide. I contacted him because I had talked to him after Bruce's memorial. So I contacted him and says, look, Bruce would have done this. And he says, well, you want to come on my show? I said, sure. Okay. So I did a telephone interview with him. So whether those two radio interviews brought anybody out, I don't know. Global TV showed up, much to my surprise, and did a little short segment. I learned a little bit about television in that when they interview you, like myself and Clayton, for 10 and 15 minutes, you end up with about 15 seconds of airtime. So we'll just push the button here. And this is what was on Global on Sunday night.
Astronomers from across the capital region gathered at Elk Island National Park today with their telescopes pointed at the skies. They call it Milky Way Day. Noah Rashog reports on just what it is they're looking at.
With a special lens, our camera can see the sun clearly. It's shining brightly on the last day of August, and amateur astronomers are trying to capture every last ray. Milky Way Day is underway.
We're transitioning from summer into fall, so we're getting different constellations coming up, different objects to view over the, and I guess darker sooner too, so that helps.
Once a year, they'll set up in Elk Island National Park because it's in a designated dark sky zone, meaning light pollution is reduced for the best night sky viewing.
It's cool when people look at something and say, wow, I've never seen that before. Or they can't believe that they actually can see stuff like that.
Their community is held together with a common curiosity for the universe. They hope to share that curiosity with others.
Maybe some future astronomer comes here today and really gets inspired, and they can, make something revolutionary when they grow up. So these type of things really help people as well.
Really, it's really bright, so I don't look at it often. But through the telescopes, it's a lot more in detail, and I'm seeing things I've never seen before.
The edge of the sun, you see all the little flames sticking off into space. Yeah, those are called prominences or solar flares.
Members brought out their own telescopes of all shapes and sizes, each unique and built with a specific purpose.
You see the sun over on the left. Scopes are designed to just look very specifically for that one color of light and the information in it. You get to see prominences and flares and texture on the surface of the sun. It's a really interesting thing to be able to observe.
Today, the sun is acting up. Through their scopes, they see what they call a filament, a strand of solar material pointed at the Earth, suggesting that there could be northern lights in the next few days. Throughout the day, they're just looking at the sun. That's all there is to look at the moment. But as the sun begins to set later into the evening, they're hoping to catch some of the planets, and as well, an aurora borealis. Noah Rashog, Global News.
Okay. And with that, I'll say, Scotty, beam me up.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, a very good evening out there. It started out a little smoky, and we weren't sure if we were going to get any stars or anything. And then finally, around 10 o'clock, it cleared up enough that we were able to pick out some objects, and I was even able to image the Andromeda Galaxy on my C-Star. So, all in all, it wound up pretty good. So, only got a couple quick announcements, and we'll get to Tom Owen and his Astro Imaging Corner. Okay, so October 4th, it's International Observe the Moon Night. We're going to be getting a group together, have the deck open. That's a Saturday night. We'll have the deck open, and so hopefully we'll be able to get a few extra people with telescope. We'll advertise this on the website, and we will see well, hopefully, weather permitting, we'll be able to have a decent night to observe the moon. Also, this meeting on November 10th will be a members' night, and I was informed today by Tom that this will be on the 10th, will be the 150th edition of Astro Imaging Corner. So a little bit of a milestone there. They got something special set up for that as well. So I think we're getting to that point now. I've got Book of the Month from Mark Zalcik. So Mark, there he is.
Hello again. Yeah, the library is open just before and after the meetings. It's just over there to the left. We have some surplus books out on the ledge, so help yourself. And before we talk about the book of the month, I'd like to introduce the co-librarian, Rosemary Ball, who's going to talk about some exciting changes at the library. So take her away.
Hello, all. We decided sometime earlier this year that it was time to update the library and weed out some of the older material, make room for the new material. And also the goal is to get the catalog online. So we started doing that work at the beginning of this year, and I'm hoping that it will be finished by the end of this year. So it's quite a long process. Please do bring back your books because we need to allocate shelf space for the various new categories that we're putting into place. For those of you who are online, if you're not coming into the meetings here, but you're going to be at the Star Party, please bring your books there, and either Mark or I will be happy to get them from you and bring them back. Because we're trying to do this updating, for today, there won't be any loaning out of books from the library other than the Book of the Month, which Mark has 2 copies of. If you're interested in looking and seeing what it might look like with the library, I do have a printout of our proposed categories that I've just hung on the door of the library. But I'm looking forward to having it organized in a way that makes it easy for people to find the information that they're looking for. And of course, Mark is going to hunt you down if you don't return your books, and his phaser won't be on stun. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Rosemary. Rosemary's we worked pretty hard over the summer getting things organized. So kudos to Rosemary. As far as the book of the month, yes, it's Night Sky Observer's Guide, Volume 1, covering autumn and winter. A few months ago, we introduced the Night Sky Observer's Guide, Volume 2, covering the constellations of spring and summer. As autumn quickly approaches, I'm pleased to announce that we now have Volume 1, actually 2 copies of it, and they'll be available after the meeting. There are 29 chapters covering details in the autumn and winter constellations, as well as a preface and extended introduction and a set of 3 appendices on the local galaxy group. And there's meteor showers and the additions and contributions section. Each constellation chapter has an extensive descriptive coverage of many deep sky objects as seen in various apertures. There are also large-scale star maps on the inside covers and in locating the constellations and the regions covered by the smaller scale star charts found in each chapter. So anyone interested? Yeah, we have 2 copies that will be available after the meeting. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark. So we will move on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, Astro Imaging Corners from Mr. Tom Owen.
Thanks, Clayton. I also want to recommend the Night Sky book. For imagers, it's got all kinds of goodies that you might want to you might want to be able to image that you wouldn't ordinarily see in sort of the more mainstream books. So I highly recommend it. Okay, so welcome to Astro Imaging Corner number 148. Starlight rains. After months of clouds, the night skies cleared and the starlight fell like rain. In backyards and parks, tripods and telescopes, eyepieces and cameras sprouted, attracting buzzing rascals. Tonight, we'll see the fruits of their labors. I also want to say, though, tonight we have contributions from 12 members this month, and that's what we like. I would say typically we get what I would call the usual suspects submitting their images, and they're great. But to get 12 people submitting, that is a real renaissance in astro imaging, and I want to see it. I want to see more of you. So first, we have Noctilucent Clouds from Stephen Portillo. And Mark had mentioned that the evening of June 29th was very good for NLC. And this is, in fact, a picture of NLC from the evening of June 29th, as seen from Sherwood Park. Daisy has contributed a picture of the moon. Daisy Alvarez. This is a waxing gibbous moon taken at Elk Island on August 31st during Milky Way days. It was taken at 9:14 p.m. with an iPhone 13 Pro Max through J Lavender's 16-inch f/4.5 Skywatcher Dobsonian. Very nice picture, Daisy. This is an eclipse taken from Liverpool, Barry Delano. He says it was taken at 8:30 p.m. in Liverpool, 45 minutes after the official moonrise time. He says he just caught it after clearing the clouds using an iPhone 11 on photo mode. It took a few seconds to capture. And then he comments that the camera exposure time seemed to clear away what he took as the penumbral. This is Murray Paulson's contribution of Saturn, of course, from the Mount Kobau Star Party. I'm not sure where that is, but I would really like to go. It was shot through an AP-155. Is that an astrophysics? Yeah, an astrophysics 155. I would also like to see that. At f/14 using an AS-1290 MC color camera. 5,000 frames were processed with auto stacker and 40% were used in the stack. Final processing was in Registax 6.1. Lovely picture, Murray. This is another contribution from Stephen Portillo. This is, of course, the Milky Way. He says, this is the Milky Way as seen from the Blood Indian Creek Reserve on August 21st, 22nd, a stopover on the way to the Summer Saskatchewan Star Party. I really like that picture. Now we have a contribution from Alan Hobbs. This is NGC 2264. NGC 2264 identifies two astronomical objects as a single object, the Cone Nebula and the Christmas Tree Cluster, and the Foxfur Nebula. All of these objects are located in the Monoceros constellation, and are located about 2,300 light years from Earth. So Alan took this near Silver City, New Mexico on March 22nd, and the photo has 20 subs of 120-second exposures, 40-minute integration time, which is pretty astounding. Pretty astounding result for that, for 40 minutes of integration time, Alan. The astrophoto was taken with a Celestron RASA 8 and a ZWO ASI 2600 MC camera with an Optolong L enhanced filter on a Skywatcher EQ6R Pro mount. IC2118 was processed with PixInsight and Photoshop. So that is really great, Alan. This is from Daniel Tomsey, the Messier 16, the Eagle Nebula. And he says the Eagle Nebula, cataloged as Messier 16 or M16 and as NGC 6611, and also known as the Star Queen Nebula, as a young open cluster of stars in the constellation Serpens, discovered by Jean-Philippe de Gesseau in 1745-46. This nebula is approximately 5,700 light years away from us. Over 17 hours of subs were stacked to generate this image. The data was taken over 8 nights, June 8th, 10th, 24th, 27th, July 4th, 5th, 11th, and 18th, 2025. The Eagle Nebula is a challenge to image in our latitude, as it only clears 20 degrees above the horizon for a few weeks in the middle of summer, when the quote nights, end quote, are the shortest. So that is a great shot. He says, sorry, some of the capture details. He used an NASCAR 103 APO, ASI 2600 MM Pro, and with Antlia 36 millimeter 3NM Pro SHO and V Pro series. So he used both narrowband and LRG filters in this. He used PixInsight to process it. So Daniel, another fantastic image. Now we have a contribution from Dave Mussel. This is NGC 7822. He says this is a large star-forming region in the constellation Cepheus, about 3,000 light years distant. Like other bright nebulae, this one is illuminated by numerous hot young stars, some only a few million years old. Some structures similar to the famous Pillars of Creation, captured by the Hubble telescope in its 1995 image of the Eagle Nebula. This image was accumulated from 5 hours of data taken with the QHY monochrome camera and Antlia 3NM hydrogen alpha, oxygen 3, and sulfur 2 narrowband filters using a 5-inch Explore Scientific refractor. The mount was a Skywatcher EQ installed in Dave's observatory southwest of Edmonton. It was processed in PixInsight using the 4X palette utility by Polyman Astron. Great shot, Dave. This is Messier 16, another shot of the Eagle Nebula from Hans S. Johns. And he says the camera for the first, his camera for this was ASI 2600 MC Pro, combined with 4 NM dual narrowband filters, one HA03 and one S203. And for the stars, he used a Botter UV IR cut filter, and the location was his Bortle 7/8 backyard in Sherwood Park. The Eagle Nebula is in the constellation Serpens, and this one was taken with the Celestron 9.25-inch Edge HD SCT at 1650 millimeter focus, or focal length with a 0.7 reducer. And it was exposed for 5.5 hours and 70 minutes in RGB and was processed in the Hubble palette. This is the Reflection Nebula IC348. And he took this from the Blackfoot Lake dark site, and it shows the Reflection Nebula IC348 in the constellation Perseus. It was taken with his William Optics RedCat 250 or RedCat 51 at 250 millimeter focal length at f/4.9 with an Astronomic UV IR cut filter and his Sony A6400 DSLR. He imaged for one night from dusk to dawn, but intermittent clouds resulted in only 2.25 hours of usable data. And Hans, we've all been there. Nonetheless, some interesting structures already start to show up. And this is Dark Nebula LDN 889. The Dark Nebula and associated nebulosity around the bright star Sauter, which is right of center in the constellation Cygnus. And this was taken with a Teleview NP127 at 520 millimeter focal length at f4.2. He spent 1.5 hours exposing in RGB and 8.5 hours each in HA03 and S2. He said, despite the relatively short exposure time, the RGB image turns out reasonably well in natural colors. Actually, he sent it. I haven't put it in. This is what some people like to call also the butterfly nebula. Another great shot. So this is the Tulip Nebula, SH2101. It's an emission nebula in Cygnus, 6,000 to 7,500 light years distant. I imaged this in narrowband a little bit at a time on July 29th, August 3rd, and August 22nd, using 6-minute subs in HA03 and S2, using a QSI 683 camera and a TSA 120 refractor telescope. It's a dim object, and it was a total of 5 hours on this. It's not enough, but the rest will have to wait till next summer. It was, I used, the subs were stacked with APP, and I processed it using star tools. This is a closer look at a portion of the IC 1848, also known as the Sol Nebula in Cassiopeia. It features IC 1871, which is, it looks to me like a little muckluck. And although others have used IC 1871 to use to apply to that whole, what looks like a kind of a vortex, it's 6,500 light years distant, but I think in this image, 6,500 light years seems very, very far away indeed. The whole thing just looks very alien to me. I use a QSI 683 camera and the Takahashi TSA 120 telescope at prime focus. 43 HA 3803 and 39 S2 5-minute subs were used for a total exposure of 10 hours. I imaged this at Pigeon Lake, August 24th and 25th. The subs were stacked with APP and processed using star tools. We have a contribution from Josephine Christensen. This is the Eastern Veil Nebula. She says she took this August 29th, 2025. A C-star S50 in Alt-Az mode. 1 hour and 11 minutes of 10-second subs in mosaic mode. And she stacked 427 of them, ignored 52. And she figures that the program must have ignored all the planes that flew through her image while she was taking it. She started it at 10:08 p.m. and finished her run at 12:14 a.m. The C-star was stacked with AI denoise, edited in Adobe Lightroom phone app, and a smidgen in Snapseed, whatever that is, and taken from Southwest Edmonton. Good job, Josephine. And here we have a sketch of the Eastern Veil Nebula by Warren Finley. The same night that Josephine was out with her C-star, Warren was at the eyepiece with his sketchbook. And here's the sketch. He says, here's the sketch of the Eastern Veil Nebula I did at the eyepiece on August 29th. Under 21.2 meg arc second to skies, Bortle 4 skies near the edge of Bortle 3 skies. The nebula was a little larger than the field of view in my 17 millimeter eyepiece, so I had to move the scope around while doing this sketch to capture this field, and what a pain that must have been. I used an O3 filter, and he said, my medium is soft white pastel brushed onto 7-inch by 10-inch black drawing paper with stars placed using a white pastel pencil and dark lanes drawn with a dark black charcoal pencil. So I think that's an amazing sketch. I wish we had more people submitting sketches. And may I remind all of us that Galileo was a sketcher. This is M33 by Murray Paulson. He says it's a stack of 199 times 30-second exposures at ISO 8000 using a Canon R6 Mark II through a Williams Optics GT71 at focal length of focal ratio of f6. It's processed with Deep Sky Stacker and post-processed with Corel PSP. And I haven't heard that name for a while. Very nice job, Murray. And finally, we have Murray doing M101. He says this was a crop stack of 199 30-second exposures at ISO 10,000 using the Canon R6 Mark II through an AP155 telescope at f7, processed with Deep Sky Stacker and post-process with Corel PSP. So I want us to, let's give a hand to all of the astro imagers that submitted these. Well deserved. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, so we're almost at the end. We're doing the trivia answers, so if anybody can remember what the questions were. Also, before everybody leaves tonight, all those who are celebrating Star Trek Day in uniform or whatever, we're going to have a group picture taken before we all leave tonight. So as soon as we're done, come up on the stage here and we'll get a group photo done. Okay, so the name of the starship that Roddenberry originally had planned was the Yorkton. Anybody get that? I didn't get it either. So, who was the first actor to be a member of all three major alien races in Star Trek? And that would have been Vulcan, Romulan, and Klingon. And the answer was Mark Leonard. Which Star Trek captain has an artificial heart? And that episode was just on, I think, last week with Jean-Luc Picard. Okay, and pseudo primary position on the Enterprise. If anybody got this wrong, you can't call yourself a Trekkie. That was helmsman. Okay, so we have a few final announcements. We got our cartoon of the month here. I thought that was apropos for today. I like that one. Okay. I think that covers it for tonight. And I thank everybody for showing up and hope everyone had a great summer. And looking forward to see what we can observe and image in the months to come. Hopefully the weather stays great. So again, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Okay, all you Star Trekians, let's get our picture taken.